Hello, everybody. My name is Muhammad Ali Hassan Rabbani. I am an international student currently studying in the UK. And today I will be answering a list of questions given to me by EasyStepUK. Okay, so let's start off. The first question is, which community-led solutions for people hit by climate impacts deserve wider support? So I believe certain community-led solutions or projects that blend environmental goals with social value deserve much wider backing, according to me. Um, an example could be community energy cooperatives or maybe urban food growing schemes in low income areas. Because according to me, they reduce carbon footprint, they lower household costs, and they build local skills. To give a particular example, in the UK, models like the Bristol Energy Cooperation really show how reinvesting profits actually multiplies benefits. My contribution would be to actually increase awareness in local communities about these community energy cooperatives and help them access funding streams like local crowdfunding platforms for these projects. My second question is that if I set up a consultation or decision-making group led by those affected, how would I design its powers? So I'd start by giving that consultation or group formal influence. I would, for example, I would have the power, it should have the power to improve spending priorities or maybe shape program criteria. Membership should represent those, obviously, those who have been impacted the most by lived experience, by their income, by their, race. It doesn't matter. It should have transparent selection. Um, it should have clear terms of reference. It should have a rotating head figure who changes every year or for a certain period of time. It should have paid participation that goes into its community fund. This system basically ensures fairness because it balances power and makes the process more sustainable. My third question is, what kinds of evidence or data would persuade decision makers to change unfair systems? So basically, I believe that evidence should combine lived experience narratives because they actually convey human impact of these initiatives, and it should be combined with local statistics from data from the NHS, local statistics from data from agencies like NHS. They actually helps a lot for decision makers because, as we know, NHS is facing challenges like inadequate facilities. We could have surveys about daily transportation issues, the needs of welfare beneficiaries, asylum seekers. So, in the end, I would say it's crucial to integrate these two things, official data linkage as well as community led responses from surveys that could be carried out. My fourth question is that I should describe a cross sector collaboration that could drive change at scale. So, a cross-sector collaboration that comes to my mind is a community eco-enhancer. That would basically be a partnership between a local city council and a community energy group. Its funding would come from a social impact third-party investor. It would basically have the fixed key performance indicators focused on energy reduction and jobs. Um, its finance, like I said, would be funded by a third-party investor. It would also come from local grants, crowdfunding platforms, and it would have regular clearance on its main objectives. My fifth question is, how can community-owned assets or enterprises create lasting economic fairness? So I'm supposed to give one practical model. The model that comes to my mind is a community-owned solar garden. Let's say, for example, that locals residents buy affordable shares in this community-owned solar garden, and the profits that are obtained from this are reinvested back into the energy fund, um, which will offer discounted tariffs for low-income households, and it will also support emergency energy vouchers. Its main aim would be to reduce income inequality in our local community and keep the cash flow in the community, basically. My sixth question is, facing What concrete measures would I remove or add to fix access to services like language, cost, or lack of information? So, as an international student who comes from a country that doesn't have English as its first language, I would basically remove upfront fees for applications or assessments like IELTS because they're very expensive tests, especially for low income households. And I would also make complex multi-form applications a lot simpler because the visa process for coming to this country is already very complex. Um, I would also provide guaranteed translation services, sign language services for our disabled community. My seventh question is that when mobilizing public support, which community style or narrative best pushes for system change? I believe that a narrative that combines solution focused impact as well as real numerical statistical figures is most impactful. One example or one narrative model could be um, one person can make a difference, but a community can create real change. This message proposes unity. It gives the idea that certain areas require immediate mode of urgent action. It could, be about certain industries like lack of housing, low wages, or growing inflation. My next question is that which policy changes would immediately improve the basic rights of the most overlooked groups in the UK? So, one policy change that I propose is a community consultation service. This would ensure that affected communities or overlooked groups like migrants, renters have enforceable participation and influence on policy changes that would affect them in major industries like education, housing, and welfare benefits. I would also make it a legal requirement for public services to have accessible language services. Um, Maybe have emergency responses to several communities, maybe have immediate removal of access barriers for non-English speakers. My second last question is that how would I measure a systems change project that is actually producing greater fairness? So how would I measure fairness from a project would be by two factors: quantitative indicators like reduction in income inequality for target areas, reduction in environment related NHS admissions, maybe I'll check the project budget if it's governed by the local community or by the government. I would see unemployment in certain communities. Then we come to the qualitative indicators. That would be perceived fairness and trust through annual community surveys. So yeah, these are the two types of ways that I would check long-term indicators. My final question is that if I have one opportunity to propose a reform to policy leaders, what would I propose? I would propose a community climate co-investment response. That is, that it would require local authorities and government agencies to allocate a fixed percentage to eco-friendly climate adaptation policies and energy transitions. It would improve local affected community conditions. It would align with the basic sustainable goals allocated by foreign bodies from the UN. How it would create a positive chain of effects. It would increase sustainability. It would create employment, and it would probably increase citizen satisfaction as well, and improve local health conditions. So yeah, there you have it. I'm sorry if I took too long. But these are my particular ideas on certain questions, and I look forward from hearing back from you. And I really look forward to actually making a real change in the conditions of migrants as well at EasyStep. Thank you for considering me for this role, and I look forward from hearing back